that's what she was trying to do. Especially when I saw how Linardatou was moving. She did a lot of. She was like super bouncy in that first round. And Baumgardner, on the other hand, was being patient. She was kind of stalking her a little bit. In like the third round, it seemed like Baumgardner was maybe a little bit too patient, and Linardatou was using her movement, and she was doing a good job of putting herself in a good position to throw and land. But overall, I thought that her sharpness and her combos turned out to be too much for Linardatou. I thought that Will, you say the stamina issues? Were you saying that with Baumgardner?
That's what people were when I looked on social media. I saw one or two people say her stamina is trash.
Yeah, I don't know where they get that from, because like she, like you said, she managed it well, and she was standing up in between rounds. Like I thought she was well conditioned for this fight, and I thought it was too much for Linardatou. Like, granted, we had referenced last week about Linardatou's inactivity. They kept mentioning it during the fight that this was her first fight since becoming a mother, I believe. But I still felt like she was very game, and we just like we expected her to be. But in that, I think it was the seventh round, Baumgartner landed a vicious combo to the body, and after that, Linardatou's movement slowed down, and she looked a little bit tired. And I thought Baumgartner took over the rest of it. But it was a very good performance by her. We talk about homecoming and jitters. That's been kind of a theme with some of these more recent fights with Jerry Anderson and Prograis. But I thought that Baumgardner did a good job of, managing that. I thought I like the walkout. Sometimes when rappers walk out fighters, like it doesn't really add to it. But I thought that first of all, putting on for her hometown, not hometown, but putting on for the city and having that rapper, and then the way the rapper complimented her, I thought that was cool, and so it was a good fight all around. And so shout out to her, shout out to women's boxing. In terms of what's next, she called out Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Out of those two, from a weight standpoint, I won't be mad at either, because she locked 130 is right in between both of their weight classes. But Taylor's probably going to want to see Cameron again. And Serrano, she fights Heather Hardy in a month, just under a month. But I feel like she'll be available after that, so that'd probably be the most realistic one out of the two, and I think that'd be a fun fight. What about you, Bill?
Hold on, Bill, man. Shout out to we're gonna get you in the second, Ty. So just pump your brakes for a second. Shout out to some of my homies, man, with all of these old man jokes. You understand what I'm saying? Just you gonna have a birthday too, though, coming up, though, sir. So just keep that in mind now. But go ahead, Bill.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good performance by Alicia Baumgartner. I thought Tony Harrison was kind of over exaggerated. It wasn't this great performance, the greatest performance of women's boxing, nor was it probably her, even Baumgartner's most dominant performance. But it was a good performance because I can see, like, even in those early rounds that it's almost like Baumgartner was kind of having like that deja vu like moment, like, man, this girl is like coming at me. You know what I'm saying? You can see it in her face, but you can see her adjust it too. I think it was around the second and third round that I gave Linardatou that, Baumgartner's patient, but you can see this look on her face like, I gotta do this, But she really did step it up. I thought that Linardatou, tough girl, coming off that layoff, was throwing a lot of shots. It was even early in that fight, she was throwing some shots that was not landing. Practically some of her jabs was not landing, but she was throwing a lot of shots. She started to land some shots in the second half, but Baumgartner was landing these sharp shots, man. That was just. They did also go into the body, which I think that was making a difference because it started to slow Linardatou down a lot in that second half. And there was some moments where I thought, hey, if it was the 3-minute rounds, that Baumgartner might have got Linardatou out of there. But it was a great performance by Alicia Baumgardner. She definitely proves to 14-1, 7 knockouts, got that victory back, avenged that loss. Linardatou falls to 14-2, 14-3, I believe, with 6 knockouts. And one thing I didn't like, I love Franchon Cruz-Dezurn, but I did not like her on the mic yesterday, man. They need to work on her. She was annoying to me. But I love her though, but not on the mic.
Yeah, I wasn't even really paying attention to her. I was looking at them pugilists up in there, man. What y'all think about the weigh-in? How'd you like that? You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, what you think about the weigh-in?
I didn't see the weigh in, but I'm glad they made weight. I did peep those when after the win, you know, Baumgardner, she put them yays on, man. So her and Tony Harrison, they up there with them Cartiers, man. So I'm like, some Detroit cats up there. So
Yeah, they did their Detroit thing, man. What you think about? Bill ain't talking about nothing, Danny. What you think about the weigh-in? We talking about the weigh-in. You understand what I'm saying? Like this fight right here, that was like the climax. You understand what I'm saying? It was the weigh-in. What you think, Danny?
I didn't see the weigh-in neither.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pop quiz for you though, Vel. Who was that she came out with? The rapper.
I missed that part, man. What was the song? It might have been Cash Down. I don't know. That's just my guess.
It was a Sada Baby. I don't know. I know the rapper. I forget the name of the song.
Oh, Sada Baby.
Yeah.
Sada Baby. All right.
Okay, so now we got our boy in the building. We got Ty Finney, you know, 33-19. You know, he does a really good job of covering these fights. I know, Ty, you was covering that Linardatou Baumgardner fight. Before I even get your thoughts on this, man, you know, Baumgardner, she lost some cool points with me yesterday because this past weekend, I like her fighting game, you know, and whatnot. I just don't think that she's a good prognosticator when it comes to trying to pick who's going to win fights, just based on what she did as far as bets and Crawford. You understand what I'm saying? So she lost a few.
She went for Bud.
Whatever, man. So, Ty, how you doing, good brother? First and foremost, everything good?
Yeah, everything's good, man. Salute to the team, man. You know, happy birthday to you.
Oh, peace, brother. Peace. Thank you, brother. You know, we this is what we do, man. You know, it's just always a blessing, you know, to see another day, you know, the go around the earth, you know, one more time. You understand what I'm saying? Being able to listen to a little bit of Erykah Badu on Thursday, you know, and if things don't go right, you know, in this one, you know, I'll catch you next lifetime. You understand what I'm saying?
Man, you looked in Erykah's eye. I'm saying you looked in Erykah's eyes. I think
hey, you
Linardatou wouldn't be too happy about that.
Hey, check this out. You would notice if I start dressing like with flowers and stuff like that. You can, oh damn, he looked at her eye. But anyway, Ty, man, good to have you on the show. First and foremost, man, what did you think about the Baum's performance yesterday?
I think Baumgardner did one hell of a job. You know, she was awesome with the body work. It was some rounds where it was competitive. You know, Christina, she was doing her thing, landing some shots too. But I like what Tony Harrison's doing with Baumgardner. Like I said, he had her standing in between rounds. You know, her conditioning was good. You know, a lot of people, you know, criticized her for her last performance for her conditioning, but you know, her conditioning was good in this fight, and she did one hell of a job with the body shots. It was similar to like what Devin Haney was doing at Loma. So yeah, I think Alicia Baumgardner is definitely one of the, you know, top female fighters.
Oh yeah, definitely. She got to be. I wouldn't put her. I'm gonna get that to y'all too. But as far as like the top females, I think obviously you got to go with the GWOAT. But do you put her in the same, you know, stratosphere as a Serrano, the other ladies, Taylor, Cameron? Do you think she belongs in that group, or is she just like?
Yes, I believe so. I think with Baumgardner, it's just that she didn't have the same. Like a lot of them, the ones you mentioned, they had story amateur career, or like Serrano. Serrano really started early and really made her bones across the weight divisions, fighting any and everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Baumgardner is like that surprise, you know what I'm saying? That
Come on,
one you know she's talented, but you don't expect her to be great, but she's turning out to be great. So I will put her up in there, man, because she's probably the most skilled. I mean, when I watch her, she's very, very slick. I mean,
what state does she represent?
What state?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes she represents Michigan. Sometimes she represents Ohio.
Where are you from?
Sometimes she represents Ohio, because I think she's from Ohio too.
Where are you from, though, sir?
I'm not from Ohio. Actually, you won't see me wearing Ohio State jersey or nothing like that. Yeah, I'm from Detroit.
Okay, so you're from Detroit. She fought in Detroit yesterday. What type of glasses did she wear?
Oh man, That don't mean skill is skill, man. Like
we can.
just like I told you. No. Just like I told you when Tony Harrison said. I mean, I didn't agree with that.
You're making all of these Detroit references, but then you're gonna put her up there with the Katie Taylors, the Camerons, the Serrano.
I think she's a danger.
She's dangerous.
I think she's just as.
Can I
beat them?
Can I get the other side of it, though, Bill? You know, you have the floor, sir. The other side of that is she doesn't belong just yet, because I think that those other girls have had a dance partner that they have beaten that was just like them. So Cameron beating Taylor, Taylor beating Serrano, and the other lady the Delphine and all of them. Like, she went through a lot of quality opponents. So I can't give her that. Now, you might say Meyer or Mayer, but I don't look at Mayer. I think Mayer is more limited. Like, those girls would defeat Mayer, and then the fight that she had against Mayer could have went either way. So I can't really just put her right now with them unless she beats one of those ladies. And then I also see a flaw in her that they don't necessarily have. She's doing a better job now, you know, as far as the stamina issue. But I think if you put her in there with one of those girls, that might rear its ugly head also. Now, I'm gonna let you go ahead and cook. What you fellas think?
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I would say she's like, if the names you mentioned are like tier 1, and then below that would be tier 2. She falls in the middle somewhere, you know, like we don't, like you said, we don't know until she gets that fight, but she's at the point where there's almost nobody else left for her except for those fights. And so we might be like 6 months away from figuring that out. But I think that I'm going to fall somewhere in the middle where she could be or she could not be. But to your point, she doesn't have that marquee name yet, but she could be ready for that. She could beat a Serrano. You know what I mean? And so we'll see. Because like Serrano, like, she did her thing against Taylor, but she would have to come up and wait again to fight Baumgardner. Not as much, but she would. And Serrano is look, the thing about these women, a lot of these women with these storied amateur careers are also on the older side. I feel like Baumgardner is on the younger side, and she's like probably the first of her kind in the sense that, you know, once women's boxing was on the map by these pioneers, like, she was the first one in the door that wasn't one of the pioneers, but possibly has the skill set of one of those pioneers. So we'll see. Jury's still out.
What about you, Ty?
Yeah, I think she's one of the top fighters. You know, she is undisputed. You know, she lost to Christina and she avenged that loss. So she's pretty much beat everybody that's been in front of her. And I can't see her, you know, Clarissa Shields ever fighting. It's obviously they're friends, but yeah, I definitely got, you know, Baumgardner up there as one of the top female fighters.
Yeah, you know, like, see, I always don't look at when somebody just, and I'm not saying just, because if you undisputed, you undisputed. Like, that's a very few people have ever reached those heights. You understand what I'm saying? But George Kambosos was pretty much an undisputed guy, you know? And that doesn't necessarily mean that he is like other guys who have been undisputed because of the path that they have taken in order to become undisputed. You can just see the difference in level of skill. But with Baumgardner, I just like her total package, because Baumgardner is going to have people watching fights. All you got to do is this. With Baumgardner, take a picture of her weigh-in and take a picture of her just doing an interview, put it in the chat. Everybody's going to be like, oh, man, who was that? When's she fight? So she has that magnetic thing that other ladies may not have. That's just going to jump off the screen and people are going to want to see her. I
Will done got over Baum already. He didn't got over.
No, I it's not that. I'm not. I don't want to seem like that. But so and for instance, Antoine Eccles, may he rest in peace. He passed away recently. And shout out to him and his career and his family. You know, I saw that they posted that. But a year or so ago, we were Facebook friends. And so he was in one of those boxing groups. He put a post. He said, who is this lady right here? He said, I want to train her. Like, you ain't no damn trainer. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so
You did Tony Harrison, really.
yeah, and he just suddenly became a good ass trainer too. He part of my language, man. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm getting my AB on, man. I forget all this. This is my birthday, man. But anything else you guys have on this?
Yeah, I'd say she is a highly attractive lady, but I like what Tony Harrison's doing with her. You know, Tony Harrison, you know, he's a former champion himself. You know, he's had some bad stoppages in his career, but I like what he's doing with Alicia Baumgardner. I definitely think he could take her to that level for sure. He's already doing that.
Yeah. And
I
shout out
said all
to
classy, like she attractive lady.
yeah.
Class, man. That's what I'm talking about.
One of y'all dudes, man. I don't know. One of you fellas know A-Key.
Yeah, it's me, man. He's talking about he beat me on Fight Night Champion. So excuse him, man. Yeah, he went me on Fight Night Champion.
Let me go ahead and put it.
You might want to handle that, man. You know, he up here, you know,
He said, you remember me?
you might want to handle that.
He putting his handle on there and everything. He's like,
Man.
remember.
That man following you around the internet, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, he chased you.
Yeah, he whooped me. I give him that. He whooped me.
We're gonna keep that up there for a minute. He smoked old the legend. You understand what I'm saying? He the legend killer. All right, so now, yeah, man, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, man. We over there, we edging up closer to the 500 likes or 500 subs. Once we get to that, we want to go ahead and get up to 1,000 and beyond. You understand what I'm saying? So make sure you do that for your boy, and then also do the same thing for Ty Finney, 3319. Okay. Also, man, Ty, I don't know if you know anything about some of these fights that's coming up, but we got two interesting fights. They're interesting and not from the standpoint of actually wanting to see the fight, but this first one right here, George Kambosos, who's from down under. You got Maxie Hughes. I want to say he's from the UK. These dudes are fighting in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Like, what the heck is that all about? But anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and make your predictions on this fight that the world is waiting to see.
Yeah, this is an interesting fight, weird fight. As you said, it's in Oklahoma, you know, instead of somewhere in Europe or Australia or somewhere else. But George Kambosos, 20-2, only 2 losses to Devin Haney, you know, with 10 knockouts, 5'9", 68-inch reach. He's taking on Maxie Hughes, who is 26-5-2, 5 knockouts. Had a win over Kid Galahad. He lost to Liam Walsh. So looking at how these guys match up. So Kambosos, we saw, you know, he's definitely hittable, even though he has, you know, he fights with a particular type of. His defense is kind of his reflexes and his feet trying to get out of the way, but he's not really like athletic to me. But he is a kind of an awkward fighter. Keeps that left hand down, which makes him even more hittable. Maxie Hughes, I think, is better than his record would suggest. He does get cut and bruised a little bit easy. But he does have some skill. The only thing about him, which is his downfall, he doesn't really move his feet enough. Like it's like his feet is like cement. He stands right in front of you. But when you look at like how he fights, you know, with his hands up and stuff like that, and he does, you know, throw that southpaw jab out there. So it's definitely, he definitely has some skill to him. Just not. It's just levels to his game. So I do think that this will be a entertaining fight. I just think that Kambosos is a little bit more talented and skilled than Maxie Hughes is. And he's awkward enough where he, you know, he'll get hit, but it'll be interesting. But I think his jerky movements and stuff like that, and he has his footwork, which is better than Hughes. It will lead him to a decision over Maxie Hughes. So I have George Kambosos winning a decision over Maxie Hughes.
Yeah, man. I'm not, you know, really interested in this fight. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna watch this fight, to be honest with you. It's not, you know, two guys that I really care to see fight, unless they fight somebody that I like. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get that out the way early, first and foremost. Secondly, when I just look at both guys as far as their style and what they've done in their career, I think George Kambosos, unless he just has a big head, like if he just gets to the point where he's overlooking Maxie Hughes because he's faced like the creme de la creme, he's beaten T.O., he's fought us, all of the other guys that he's faced. I mean, he's faced Devin Haney. You know, he fought a valiant, effort and lost to Haney, but he's beaten Lee Selby, who I think is better than Maxie. Mickey Bay at the time, I think, is better than Maxie, and obviously T.O. I think if he's on his game, if he has his antennas up, which I think that he should because he wants to get back to the mountaintop, he just can't look at Maxie as if, I've beaten guys better than you and I'm just a better fighter. If he takes that approach, then this could be a tricky fight. Hopefully he doesn't. So I'm going to bank on the fact that he wants to get back into the win column, that he wants to get back into title contention. And I'm looking at this as just based on his lack of knockouts in the past. I think that this is also going to be a 12-round decision for George Kambosos. It could be a close fight. George Kambosos, if you look at his resume, he's in a lot of the fights that he had. You see all of the split decisions, like the T.O. fight, the Lee Selby fight, the Mickey Bay fight. Like he's been in a lot of close, fights. And so I think that this might be another one of those close fights. But I think he's more so the A side, and they would be wanting to have him win if it is close like that, as opposed to his opponent. But what about you, fellas? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. You want to go ahead, Dane?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right.
Yeah, so I obviously in Kambosos' last two fights, he showed he has trouble with like tall, rangy fighters. Haney was one of those. Hughes was not. Hughes is not, rather. He's been around for a while, Hughes. He's not a big puncher. Like Bell said, he only has 7 knockouts out of the 26 fights. Kambosos isn't a huge puncher either in the sense of his knockout ratio, but he did knock Teofimo down, which only 2 fighters have done, and he sent him to the hospital after the fight, which no fighter has done. Hughes, he's fought mostly like domestic level opponents in the UK, but good ones relatively. Just looking at him coming into this fight, he got this fight because he got that majority decision win over Kid Galahad last September. But in that fight, Galahad, he moved up 2 weight classes and was coming off that 6-round knockout to Kiko Martinez at featherweight. And even against Galahad, there were times where, especially at the end of the fight, his punches seemed to fall short. There was kind of like this gear that he couldn't hit. And one thing Kambosos has, he has a gas tank. He has that gear, And in my opinion, he has quicker feet, quicker hands. He's capable of executing that slickness that gave Hughes trouble against Galahad. And although Hughes only has 2 knockout losses, they were the guys who were also not big punchers. And so I could see Kambosos pulling off the late stoppage. But I think Kambosos is going to win by unanimous.
Yeah.
So you don't think he's going to smoke him like Aqib did Ty? No. I'm just messing with you.
I think it's possible. I'm going to go for the safe bet, though.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. And it's not a fight that I'm highly interested in, but I think at Kambosos, he's got more to prove. He's had 2 back-to-back losses to Devin Haney. He lost it. He lost the belts to Haney. So I think he's coming into this fight with a lot to prove. He's itching to get back in the win column. So I'll go for George Kambosos by decision as well. Like you guys mentioned, neither guy are power punchers, so I'll go for George Kambosos by decision.
Yes, sir. That's like the likely outcome in that one right there. George has been off for a while though. He hasn't fought since October of last year. So hopefully he won't have too much rust going into that one. And then your boy, Keyshawn, I'm gonna let somebody go ahead and introduce that one right there. But I can introduce it. So Keyshawn, he's going to be fighting against Patera. What's Patera's first name?
Francisco.
Okay, so he's going to be fighting Francisco Patera next week. What do you think is going to happen in this one right here?
Okay, so Keyshawn Davis, your boy, Danny's boy, 8-0, 6 knockouts, Olympian,
Yeah,
5'9".
Too much, man. I hope Frank Martin smoked that boy.
Wait, was he Olympian or was he not Olympian?
Yeah, he talked.
Did he have a story amateur career or did he have a story amateur career?
I say he didn't. I say he talked.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, 5'9", 7-inch wingspan, and calling out Frank Martin. Since Will said that, I didn't want to go into too much of that anymore. His last fight was over Will's other boy. That's probably why Will's salty. Anthony, can you dig it, yig it? That Keyshawn Davis beat up so bad. So very ultra talented guy. A lot of skill. His amateur pedigree, but his skill is carried over to the pro ranks. But he's also bringing that power and pressure. He can bang. He has power in both hands. He gets guys out of there when he get them hurt. Definitely. And one thing I like about him though is his ambition. Normally, guys on this level, they like to just feast on like no hopers. But Keyshawn wants to smoke. You know what I'm saying? I can't fault him for that. Can't hit him for that. You know what I'm saying? He's like David Morrell. He's like, I don't care how many fights I had. I want this guy. So he's taking on Francisco Patera, 28-3, 10 knockouts, the same height as Keyshawn. So Keyshawn want to step up, but this guy is not really a step up. This guy, I watched a few of his fights. He never really fought out of Belgium, and he, man, I can probably count on my hands how many jabs he dude in thrown. He's like he throws all hooks, left and right hooks, and he's not that fast. So I think Keyshawn's gonna get this guy out of here within 4 rounds, easy. I say the 3rd round. So I think Davis gonna stop Patera in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend my time just talking about how I don't too much care for the kid. I liked him at first, but I don't like when guys come out and they talk outside of their class. Like you can't have dudes who have that type of mouth and you chirping at dudes that's not in your league. Like you have to get into that league before you start chirping. And I hear him talking way too much about other people, their business, as opposed to handling his business, getting where he needs to be, and then start talking that noise to those people. I don't see like a 1st round draft pick coming in talking crazy to Tom Brady. You understand? It just don't make sense. Stay in your lane, young man. You understand what I'm saying? But in this fight, I apologize, man. Well, I don't apologize. It ain't no reason to be apologizing, but I didn't get a chance to look at Patera or anything like that. I just looked at his record, and I just have to lean towards what you say, Phil. I'm gonna lean on your expertise as far as what's gonna happen in this fight. So I'm gonna go with the same thing because you've been cooking this year as far as the predictions and whatnot. So I'll go with a 4th round victory for Keyshawn as well. My bad to Patera because I didn't get a chance to see his highlights. I've been kind of busy this week, but I'm gonna leave it at that. What say you, Danny?
Yeah. To your point though, even with what I saw with Patera, I think Vel kind of said what there is to say. I think that overall, this is kind of like an opponent where he's kind of in that place where like with he's still getting those wrinkles under his game as a pro, and he's not at the point like he's starting to these sanctioned bodies are starting to rank Keyshawn kind of towards the bottom of that top 10 in the lightweight division, but he's not ready for the top 10. He just kind of between his mouth and his ability, he's working his way up pretty quickly, and I think this is an opponent that is a veteran, not on the world level, but on the kind of more so the European level, a veteran who is going to be bought in to be sturdy and to test them. I think that the design here is to get continue to give Keyshawn 10-round fights to prepare him for when he's going to be fighting those 12-round fights. And so I think he's going to be designed to give him rounds. But I think Keyshawn is going to break him down over the course of time. He doesn't have anything to really stop Keyshawn from doing what it is that he does. Like Vale said, doesn't throw a ton of jabs. So it's like, what do you have? You're the same height, but what do you have that's going to keep Keyshawn at bay? And so I'm going to say a 6-round stoppage on Keyshawn's end. That's what I'm going to go with. What about you, Ty?
Yeah, of course, I'm going to go with Keyshawn as well. You know, Keyshawn looked, awesome in his last fight. He's upcoming fighter. He's beating everybody that's been put in front of him. He's doing one hell of a job. If he gets past Patera, hopefully, him and, Martin, they can start building up something, but I don't think that fight would happen anytime soon. But, he's been calling out Martin. So hopefully, down the road, that fight could happen and we could get a blockbuster fight between those two.
Yeah, it's Martin smoked Keyshawn. What do you think as far as
if you're gonna smoke him, he need to go do it. Don't talk about it. Do it then. Get in that ring. Sign that contract.
That's what we
Smoke him.
I mean, now as far as he gonna fight at Davis, all right. Than Keyshawn did. Cam, I sent it to you, Danny, but it's basically a 12-round unanimous decision for Kambosos. What I was thinking, since they fight on the same card, how long do you think it'll be before they would set up a Keyshawn and Kambosos fight? Or how long will they, or how long should they wait until he's fighting somebody on that level?
I think Keyshawn with that smoke. So look, man, if Frank Martin's not gonna give him that smoke, hey, take on Kambosos, get your name up, man. So take that fight.
Can Keyshawn beat Michelle Rivera?
We don't know until they sign that contract. He believes so. I believe he can, but we don't know. That's why they fight. So guys need to stop this. Oh, man.
Well, it's okay.
Fighters need to stop this. Fighters need to stop this. Oh, I'm going to beat him. Yeah. No, prove you can beat him.
Now, check it out, man. You can go ahead and put Erickson, Lubin Davis in there with whoever you want to. You understand? That's what's going to end up happening to him.
That was slick. I think he can beat Rivera, but Rivera's gonna move up a weight whenever the suspension's done. So, but to
answer the question about Kambosos, I apologize for switching up gears. But what do you think? How long should it be before he gets a hold of one of those type of guys?
I'd probably say the end of next year, maybe. Keyshawn will have been able to get probably another, barring injury, another 4 or 5 fights under his belt by then. And Kambosos, they probably would have given him another 2 fights to get his confidence up. In this hypothetical scenario, to get his confidence back. And so, if you do that, then he beats the Kambosos, you would have someone who you say he's fought common opposition with a Haney or something like that. And so, some of these guys, I think, I know people say he talks a lot and he's talking up to, a level that he's not at yet. But if he has someone like a Kambosos on his resume, he beats him in 2024. At the end of 2025, beginning of 2025, you go into that saying like, hey, man, I beat former undisputed champ.
True.
Yeah, I can see it happening maybe by next year. I think Keyshawn, like, if he gets past Patera, he will have another fight, before the year is up. Like I said, a lot of these upcoming guys, they be having a lot of fights, 3 fights a year, stuff like that. So I think that he'll have another fight before the year is up. Hopefully they could possibly make that fight happen, sometime in 2024. But as far as him and Michelle Rivera, I think he beats Michelle Rivera easily, because Michelle Rivera was on PEDs when he fought Frank Martin. He still looked bad. And one thing I will say about Michelle Rivera, I seen him at the fight, last week, and he do look just like Ali, man. He look like a baby Ali, though.
Yeah, you did say you saw him up there. Yeah, shout out to Michelle and stay off them PEDs, bro. All right, so also, make sure you hit the like, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Don't hit that cash out. All right, so in the news this week, we got a couple, news stories that we're going to discuss. The first order of business is Big Belly. He ended up signing the fight Nagano and not defend his belt against the other champion like we all wanted. But what do you guys think about this fight? You think that this is acceptable on Tyson Fury's end to take a fight against him?
Man, no, I mean this is WWE type stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Guys want to be stars and they want the money. It's all good and fine and dandy. Francis Ngannou, UFC champion. Actually, I respect him because he took a stance against UFC. He was fighting for better. I believe he was the one that was fighting for better health care and pay for UFC fighters. And he decided to drop the UFC, even though he's the champion. He decided to drop the title and go fight elsewhere, and kind of stuck it to Dana White. And now they're looking at John Jones as that guy to try to market him now. Of course, John Jones is always, great. So the guy knew he really didn't have too much to do after that, and he's trying to rebuild himself. So there's been some back and forth talk between him and Tyson Fury. So this fight, it's one of those things that I'm like, it's like one of those exhibition fights, you know what I'm saying? I can't really get into. I don't really like. It's just for name value to get like casual people involved, and casual people gonna be talking about, oh, maybe Ngannou can knock Fury out in the boxing match because he said so. He hits like this, and it's just Fury is probably going in a boxing ring under boxing rules. Fury's probably gonna wipe him, and if he gets knocked out, I'm gonna laugh. Well, I'm gonna laugh all day at Tyson Fury if Ngannou wins. It's just a second situation to me. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have Tyson Fury if he's not gonna fight Alexander Usyk. Maybe fight somebody else, another top heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Don't waste your time with this, man. This is just. I don't know.
He shouldn't. The thing is with Fury right now, and let me jump in real quick, is that again, just like I said last week with Usyk, this is not the right time for this nonsense right here. It's a money grab. So Saudi Arabia is going to put a lot of money behind that. So he's going to go ahead and make tremendous amounts of money on one end of of it. Cool, man, make your money. But it's just like I said, it's the wrong time when you got such a hot year in the sport of boxing. You got most of the fights being made. You even got like the blockbuster, the creme de la creme of boxing week. When you got Cool Boy, you know what I'm saying? He's about to fight anyway. Then a couple of days later, you got the granddaddy of them all. You got Spence and Crawford. You had Benavidez Plant. You had Ryan and Tank. You had Devin and Vasile. And then the two big guys, the two heavyweights, the apex of boxing. That's the thing about the heavyweights, though. It's like you always want your heavyweight champions to be the baddest man on the planet. You know what I'm saying? You want them to want the best and want to fight the best. Now, this is going to come across as to a casual fan as a challenge because of Ngannou's like the way he looks. You know what I'm saying? And what he does in the UFC. So they're going to look at it and be like, oh, I want to see what's going to happen. Is he going to be able to land that against Fury? If Fury beat Deontay Wilder, who has the biggest right hand in boxing history, arguably, what do you think he's going to do against a guy who's never fought at the pro level before? It's going to be like taking candy from a baby. So right now, I just don't want to see it, in this climate right here. If Fury had already beaten Usyk, he was the undisputed champion. There really wasn't much left for him to do. And did he take a fight like that? That's different. But now he still has unfinished business. And this is the fight that everybody's clamoring for. Usyk is not getting any younger. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just, like I said, it's just the wrong time. The last thing I'm going to say is that some people will equate this with Floyd and, okay, well, Floyd fought Conor McGregor and blah, 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 this and that. By that time, Floyd had already beat Pacquiao. He had already beat Canelo. You know what I'm saying? He had kind of like semi-retired. You know what I'm saying? It's just the icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? It's like his last pretty much fight, before he walks off into the sunset and doing exhibition. And then on top of that, Floyd may have been holding up some titles. I'm not sure at that time. Because I remember at one point he was holding up some. He was saying that he would let Spence fight for it if they let him and Thurman fight. But I just feel like he's holding up, that division as well, because Usyk seemed like he wants the fight. You know what I'm saying? He wants to fight against Big Belly, and it's just unfortunate. You know what I mean? At this particular time. You know what I mean? But what do you fellas think?
If after he beat White and he stayed retired, I wouldn't be mad at this.
Right.
But since he beat White, it's another one of those things where like the same mouth that does the promotion for him also loses fans and loses people on his whole like narrative, because he goes from that to I retire to I'll fight Usyk for half a billy to giving Anthony Joshua's camp, I don't know, a weekend to drop a contract, and then not doing that to fighting Chisora again. Nobody wants to see that. To failed negotiations for Usyk, who was an easy person to negotiate with. So obviously it's Fury's fault. So to have gone to do all those things only to do this, it's like, bro, you might as well just stay retired. What you ain't stay retired for? You know what I mean? Or you might as well just did this back in December instead of fighting Chisora a third time. Didn't nobody want to see that?
Right.
So for me, it's like, in the context of it, like you said, it makes financial sense, but given all the checks that his mouth has written over the past year, it doesn't make sense. And with Floyd, that's a lazy comparison when people make it, because he fought Andre Berto back in 2015, September 2015, and that was his last fight against a boxer. And then he fought Conor in August of 2017. So he was out the game for 2 years. You know what I mean? Versus this. And so that's not an accurate comparison to me. And I think his mouth is doing the heavyweight boxing division a disservice. And it would honestly, if they stripped him of the belt, I wouldn't even be mad at that. Because at least at that point, you don't put the heavyweight division on hold. Because then you have something where like maybe you make Wilder and Ruiz for the belt, and then you have Wilder or Ruiz versus Usyk, and the heavyweight division can still move on. Versus this guy who wants to be a WWE guy, but is also holding up a whole other sports division. You know what I mean? So that's what I think.
Yeah, my opinion on it, to me, it's a huge letdown. It's a disappointment. Fury is a champion. So for him to be doing this is a huge disappointment. Like Daniel said, he's coming off the win against Chisora. Nobody really wanted to see that fight. So this is 2 back-to-back fights that Tyson Fury is taking that nobody's really called for. And to me, Tyson Fury is one of the best heavyweights out there. Like as you mentioned, Wilton, he beat Deontay Wilder 2 times. He's got the most power in the heavyweight division. So for Tyson Fury to do this, man, as you mentioned, it's just a money grab because it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. But you can't compare this to Floyd Mayweather and McGregor. Mayweather was retired, and he fought McGregor. It did do good pay-per-view numbers, but this isn't something that anybody's calling for. And to me, it's a huge disappointment.
Which fight are you looking forward to or are interested more? Not that you're interested in either, the Usyk and Dubois or the Fury and Ngannou.
I would say Fury and Ngannou. I don't want to see Usyk and Dubois, even though Dubois he's on a 4-win streak. That's not a fight that I wanted to see at all. But at least Usyk is fighting a real boxer, so I give him that. He's fighting a real boxer, yeah.
Yeah. I would say, honestly, Usyk and Dubois. I'm going to be a boxing homer with this one. Reason being, I think that even like with the intrigue of this, the measurements don't even add up in Ngannou's favor. You know, like it's like, okay, so what if he catches him? It's like, all right, first of all, it's hard to get those MMA habits. Like it's hard to break those MMA habits. You know what I mean? And so there's gonna be a lot of times where he's out of position and stuff like that, and he's just gonna look out of, he's gonna look out of place. But he's an older fighter than Fury. He's 6'4", so he gives up what, a 5-inch height advantage. He's 258 pounds, so he gives up about a 20-pound weight advantage. When you look at it, it's not gonna be that good of a fight. It's gonna be one of those things where maybe Fury makes it good with his antics, but from a measurement standpoint and from a boxing experience standpoint, it's just not gonna be a good fight. Let's be honest.
Usyk Dubois. That's the one I'm looking forward to more. I'd rather see that than Fury versus Ngannou. Even though this one's going to be a huge moneymaker, everybody's going to talk about it. It's going to be this big thing amongst casuals. But, I mean, I don't want to see Tyson Fury beat up on Francis Ngannou and tell us what we already know, that a 6'9" boxer can beat up a 6'4" MMA artist in a boxing.
Yeah, I think, to me, from an entertainment standpoint, Fury and Ngannou, because I can see myself going to a sports bar and then the sports bar is buzzing. The Usyk fight isn't interesting because I'm looking at a stiff dude who couldn't get out of the way of a jab against Joe Joyce, who in his last fight got rocked and almost knocked out cold, and he's going against a guy who can move like a middleweight. And so I already know what's going to happen, and that's not going to be at a sports bar where I'm sitting up there being the last one at the bar, you know what I'm saying, having a good time. And then on top of that, you got Usyk, who I think is ducking Deontay Wilder. And so if he, stop ducking Deontay Wilder, then, maybe he could take on Dubois or somebody like that in the interim. But right now, you still got, the Bronze Bomber out there. Nah, man, I'm looking more forward to this one right here. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to what you think about that impersonation, legend? Deontay Wilder. But anyway, Clarissa Shields, man, I know you fellas are big on her talents and how she's probably, I think it's without a shadow of a doubt, she's the #1 pound for pound fighter in women's boxing. But she just won the ESPY award this past week over Gervonta Davis. Shout out to Tank. He just got out of the pen, and hopefully he'll.
He got out of jail. He took the pen.
Well, out the
you
bin.
You the penal system?
He was in the bank. You know what I mean? He 3 hots in the cot. So he just got out. But anyway, Clarissa Shields, the young lady you see right there with the $1 million smile, she won the ESPY. What did you think about that? And what's your take on what you think about her winning the ESPY?
Okay, so she won the best boxer ESPY,
Mm-hmm.
and it was interesting who was all involved in that because she won it over Gervonta Tank Davis, Devin Haney, and Shakur Stevenson. So looking at it, I mean, I think really the only one of that list is probably as accomplished as Clarissa Shields to me will be Devin Haney because his victories over his year that he had over Kambosos and capturing the unified title, and also beating which would be his biggest opponent, which is Vasily Lomachenko. Clarissa Shields, I mean, there's no competition. The person that people thought that would pose a challenge to her, she beat, and she's about to beat again. So in Savannah Marshall, she's been dominating her weight divisions, her game. But what interested me more is like who is not on that list, which was it. I mean, they had Gervonta Davis. These are all like just newer guys still trying to establish their footing in the sport. But a lot of them, it's still question marks on just about all of them. They're not as like we consider. Because at first I thought, is this just an American thing? Or they just putting Americans in there? Or are they just putting guys that are upcoming in there? But when you look at the past winners, I think last year it was Tyson Fury. A few years before that, it was Canelo Alvarez. So looking at that, I'm like, why is it Errol Spence on that list? Why wasn't a New Wave on that list? Why wasn't Alexander Usyk on that list? It's a lot of different names that could have been on that list. Jamel Charlo could have been on that list. Why wouldn't all these guys on that list, but they put these guys? So when you look at how Tricia Shields matches up against the names they presented, she deserves it over there. So I'm happy she got it. Michigan stand up, Flint stand up. She was flexing, all over social media with the $1 million smile. So congratulations to Tricia.
Let me hop in real quick. Yeah, let me hop in real quick, man, because I like some of the things that you meant. Well, first and foremost, I just think that she's deserving because she's the a couple times over undisputed champ. Yeah, I might have to go ahead and get at her tonight, man. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, oh, my bad. I got a little off tab. So yeah, I think that she's just deserving of that those accolades. I just don't understand what the SBs the criteria. Like if I know the criteria more, then it would make sense. But just her within itself winning an award in the boxing category, I could see it. That's a huge victory. And like I said, she won she's been an undisputed champ, on more than one occasion. So yeah, she has the cachet and she put in the work in order to be a representative of the sport of boxing. So I can see that. Some of the guys you mentioned, like Errol, hasn't fought in a long time. So no, you can't. Not right now. I'm just trying to think in my mind who had one of those years that they could be. I could see Tank because that was a huge event. So again, it just depends on the criteria. Him and Ryan Garcia. Also, he started the year off with the Hector Garcia, so he had 2 wins underneath his belt. I thought those are two fights.
Hector Garcia, though, man.
What I'm saying is he's been active, and then he ended it with the Ryan Garcia, which was a fight that a lot of casual fight fans. It's kind of like the Billboard, the top 50 Billboard group duos in rap. I'm like, what's the criteria? How the heck is Outkast #1 when they didn't innovate anything? They good. Don't get me wrong, they probably maybe top 10. Can't have them #1 over somebody who built the foundation of the stuff. So
who do you think is #1? Run DMC?
Yes, Run DMC definitely #1. Yeah, that's crazy. Run
DMC. We can move on. That's before that. I don't know if
no, it's just a point though. Who do you give credence to? Somebody who created the thing for you to go ahead and take advantage of, or do you the person who took advantage and they didn't innovate anything? You tell me what Outkast innovated. I'm a huge Outkast fan, but I'm just saying you can't have them #1 over people who were the originators and stuff like that. And they did so many different things. Like Run DMC, because then I don't want to turn this to a conversation on hip hop.
Yeah, because I can tell you some stuff that Outkast did innovate. But
so you tell me. Let's pause on this right here. Talk to me, sir. I really need to know. What did they do?
I do think they were one of the first.
I'm saying, what were they the first to do, sir? Is what I'm saying. Not one of the first, because one of the first is you built off somebody else's, stuff.
Well, I'll say that because you have to go.
No,
as a hip hop historian. No. Listen. As a hip hop historian, there were a lot of things that people would have been first, but they wasn't as widespread as Outkast in doing. Which one of the ones was they were one of the first Southern groups to really embrace their Southern roots. Most Southern groups before that. No. Let me hear me out.
D was the first person I heard with that country swagger.
You said who?
Willie D.
You're right. But
so they weren't the first.
No. Hear me out. I'm a big Ghetto Boys fan. I'm a big Ghetto Boys fan. But Ghetto Boys, and they never been one of my favorite groups. But when you look at the South before Outkast, they didn't really embrace their Southern roots. They would try to sound more like they were from the West Coast and play off that a little bit more. Some used to sound like they were.
You said they were one of the first. I'm saying the first. That's different. That's a different thing. One of the first is different than being the first. how did the people dress before Run DMC started like wearing and marketing like a brand like Adidas,
Sequence, and Sugar Hill Gang and all that stuff.
And rapping where you not hip to the hot, like they really were the first ones. They also ushered in like being like a huge star as far as rap, like with the Aerosmith, Rock This Way, and all of that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they ushered in a lot of innovative things, sir.
I understand that. I didn't say that they didn't. You know, I get it. I'm just trying to make the case of what people might have thought. We look at, you know, the cast. So
the cast.
We can move on. We can move on. We
cast, man.
We move on for time, man.
I love the cast, man. I love you know, Southern Playalistic. I love Aquemini, you know what I'm saying? Two dope boys in the Cadillac, like, oh, they cold. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying you can't have a number one over some people that, you know, were the originators, man. You know, but shout out to you, you know, shout out to Clarissa for winning her award. I just think that she's a great pugilist, man. You know what I'm saying? She's a good representative. I would have her over Tank, you know, as well. You know, if those are the guys that you mentioned, Devin Haney had a wonderful 2022 as well. You know what I'm saying? With his wins over Kambosos. And then he had the win over Vasil Lomachenko. So I can see that. But that was kind of controversial. What she did in her fight against her Huckleberry, she kind of like, it wasn't, you know, it was a clear separation. It was a line of demarcation as far as who's the number one women's boxer, you know, at this particular point, and possibly ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's making that case. So, yeah, I can see it. And shout out to her. You know, and it's good to shine a light on women's boxing. You know what I'm saying? And she's a very good representative of what the women are bringing to the table. Last thing I'm going to say as well as this. I love the women, man, because they're not doing that Tyson Fury, Usyk stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've been getting it popping for a long time. Like, the top women, they've been trying to get at each other, and they've been doing a really good job of that. So, again, shout out to Clarissa Shields on winning her ESPY award.
Yeah, I won't belabor, but given the pool that they presented, I look at it from, okay, what did this fighter do between, the ESPY was what, July? So what did the fighter do between July 2022 through June 2023? And so to me, I would say in terms of what they did the most clearly and the magnitude of what they did, I would say Clarissa was the winner. You know, I would give it to Haney second. And yeah, you can make an argument for Tank in terms of like the sales, but as the fighter, you got to give it to Clarissa, I believe. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm happy she won. You know, she had a huge victory in the UK over Savannah Marshall. You know, went to another country and beat her in her backyard. So I like that she did that.
Like an old Virginia slave, yeah.
Yeah. And then, she just had a fight in the backyard. It wasn't the opponent that she was supposed to fight, but, she just had another fight in the backyard. So, I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it. Clarissa Shields is a fighter that I went to see fight live. I enjoyed watching her fight live. So, hats off to her for winning the award.
She got skills to pay the bills. Anybody that you folks can think of off the top of your head, I know we're running, kind of long a little bit. But anybody she can think of that should have been on the list that had a very good 2023 or 2022, whatever time frame they were looking at.
I think Bella said in a way. I think between the Donaire fight, maybe not in a way. He did become undisputed, but it wasn't as big a feat as Clarissa. So maybe not in a way. Like you said, Spence, he wasn't active. Charlo wasn't active. You can't put Fury in there again. Canelo.
What about Bivol?
Bivol, the thing is, the Zerto, I think the Zerto win in and of itself isn't enough. And that, when you look at the time frame of the award, he could have been fighter for 2022 because that's when he beat Canelo. But all he's had between July of last year and this year is the Zerto win. Like, I can't get that to him.
Yeah, you say Spence wasn't active, but he's gonna be active on that time though. You understand what I'm saying? He's gonna be real active. All right, your boy right here. Come on, look at him right there, Eddie Kane Jr. You understand what I'm saying? Jamil Charlo, Jamel, you disappointed, man. I'm gonna stay. I'm sipping right. I'm gonna put my drink down, man. Mel, I think that I need to turn down looking at what Mel was doing the other day on social media.
You talk about Maul, right?
Or Maul,
That
I'm
was
sorry.
Maul. That was Maul.
Yeah, my bad. But anyway, so what you
You,
had
you
was,
know, Maul hold his head straight, so that's how you tell.
yeah, Maul almost got me turning down a little. It's my birthday. He almost got me about to turn down. You understand me? It was sad. It was a sad day to see that his voice, the way he was talking, he sounded like one of them people that's on drugs. And, he was barking at some people. He was yelling at them. Then he was wanting to be like cordial with them. He was up and down as far as his emotions and things like that. He was talking about Jay Prince and all of them. And the thing that caught me, that had me the most saddened, was when he asked the person on the live, on social media, do you want a psychedelic? I'm like, dude, you live with thousands of people listening to this right here. You talking about, do you want a psychedelic on live on camera? And then also he mentioned if what's going to happen is now the fight is going to take place on September 30th between Canelo and Mel. That's going to be tricky for Canelo because if Canelo is going to be facing a male who's going to come in small and take advantage of like the quickness and things like that he will have over Canelo, that's going to be a tall order for Canelo. So saying that to say, that's going to be as tough as Charlo, because if he's accurate with what he's saying, and it doesn't make sense because he said that I'm going to fight him too. He said, so he's saying he's going to fight Canelo next. He only really going to fight Canelo next is if he beat his brother. And your brother.
That's the thing. I'll pick over that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that would only so it's already like they're conceding that Canelo is gonna knock off Mel and then he's gonna fight him next and then have the other fight afterwards. You understand what I'm saying? But if he beat Mel, you, sir, in the condition that you're in, that's gonna be an easier fight. You sitting up here, you're a druggie, you haven't fought in a long time, and you need to get it together, good brother. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's the AB situation, 2.0. He's out here bad. But what did you think if you had a chance to see the live? What were your thoughts on what you saw?
Yeah, like you look at that one comment that's on there. Hey, when you getting in the gym, that sums it up. So to your point about what would happen if Jamel were to beat Canelo, I think Jamal would still fight Canelo, and that's the sad part about it, because Canelo is still, even if he loses to Jamel, he's still a big name. He still brings money, and the sad part is Jamal is not going to get in the gym to fight Andrade. He's not going to get in the gym to fight Munguia or Benavidez. He's going to get in a fight to fight Canelo, even Canelo loses to his brother. And I heard, this is rumors, and I don't know if it's 100% true, but I heard that's part of the contract. That Jamel signed on, and Jamal is going to fight him next. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. But it's still a sad situation seeing him like this, talking about psychedelics. It's interesting because years ago we used to always look at Maul as being the more talented one. He seemed to have be the stronger one, even though he'd be the bigger one. But Jamel, I think maybe that loss to Harrison was a silver lining that made him even better and put that chip on his shoulder. Wow, on that same night that close decision that Maul received kind of set him back a lot more. I heard a lot of stuff about what Maul is going through with the breakups and stuff like that, but still, boxers go through that all the time, man. They don't be this far out, you know what I'm saying? He's basically screwing his career. This dude has belts, man, and it's like he's at risk of getting stripped. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully he get himself together, stop listening to AB. Don't be another AB is a example of what you should not want to be like if you're a professional athlete seeking to be on top of your game. And it's funny to say all these people will always want to emulate Floyd Mayweather with all the entourage and trash talking and all that, but they never emulate some of the stuff that they should, like Floyd working harder than everybody else in the gym, like him being disciplined. You know what I'm saying? You don't see him out there with a blunt in his mouth, taking psychedelics and drinking all the time. You don't see that, man. He's very, very disciplined. But they never imitate that. They always imitate the other flashy stuff. So hopefully, Charlo get himself together, Jamal, get himself together and get his career back on track.
You know what happens, what tends to happen with us is that we take one part of something and we run with that one piece of it, right? So Floyd with the flashy, undefeated, moniker and stuff like that, that's all people seem like they got out of his career. They didn't see the sacrifice that he was making in some of those big fights where he was willing to be the B-side, in order to be where he wanted to be. They don't see that part. They don't see the sacrifice as far as all they saw is the limelight, but they didn't see him calling his team up 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to run, and then just running and stuff like that. Always stand, near the weight that he's fighting at. They don't see those type of things. You understand what I'm saying? The work that he put in, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't see that part. It's kind of like I remember when Biggie came out and people, they didn't get all of the stuff that Biggie was doing as far as like his lyrical capabilities, ability to like the freestyles and stuff like that. All they got was the flamboyant part of him and the mafioso thing. So people ran with that part of it, or the 10 crack commandments. So they started talking about dope selling and all that type. That's all they saw. He's like, you don't see the well-rounded artist that this dude is. Like he's capable of doing he got so many different bags. But that's the one thing that you got out of it. And then you saw multiple artists doing that one little part of what it is that he brought to the table. And it's kind of like that with Floyd. It's sad, man, that we are in that situation.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to it really, but I just hope he's okay. You know what I mean? I don't know what was signed and what wasn't. He was saying he signed the contract but gave it to his brother first. I don't know if that's verbatim, but that's more or less what I remember him saying. I don't know if that's going to be the case necessarily. We got to see how the fights play out. We got to see how his life play out. So I'm not so sure that's a done deal. I just hope he's okay. Whatever he's going through, I hope that he gets through it. And comes out well. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this, Danny, though. Like, what do you think about those hanger-ons? Like, it's nobody around him to be like, that's not a good idea, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, to get on social media right now when you like the way you are. Like, what do you think about those people?
Part of it comes down to, if you come from a certain background, knowing who to take with you, knowing who to bring with you. And, we see that in athletes, like you got Ja Morant, for example, you got, to an extent, you got Devin Haney, because, if you're in a car with people, the car registered to you, you not driving, and the police are like, whose gun is that? The people out of everybody you with, nobody is saying nothing. Those are people you want around you. So I think part of it is, who he wants, who he chooses to bring up with them. And I'm not saying like, Mel is perfect, but you don't see these things with Mel. And so, although they're close and they're brothers and stuff like that, they probably have their own different crews. And, between that and between what's going on in his personal life, I don't know what's going on with, his child, his, spouse, ex-spouse, whatever that is. But, that weighs on it too. But yeah, I just sum it up with saying like, you got to know who to take with you.
Yeah, my thoughts on it. I didn't see, the video, but I did hear a lot about it. But, I mentioned before that, Maul was just on the interview, and like I said, he was crying when he was on the interview. So it's obviously he's going through something. So, and, he hasn't fought in 2 years. So he's obviously going through something. I hope that he gets the help that he needs. And, hopefully he can move forward with his career. But, being inactive for, over 2 years and, doing this video, it's obviously he's going through something. So I hope that he gets the help that he needs. And, I wish him the best.
Who you got left? You got this version of Charlo or Canelo?
Winning the fight?
Yeah.
Well, if you talking about Mel, are you talking about Mel or Maul?
Okay, what both of them? Who you like in both of them fight?
Of course, we got Mel and Canelo in September. I'm going for Mel because he is my favorite fighter. He shows that he's able to adjust. He gets his fighters out of there in the rematch, and I don't like that he's a huge underdog. From what I'm seeing, he's a very huge underdog. Like nobody's giving him a shot, but I'm going for Mel, man. He's my guy.
What's the odds you saw?
Just a lot of people that I'm talking to are not giving Mel. Yeah, a lot of people that I'm talking to, a lot of posts that I've seen, nobody's giving Mel a shot. Like nobody.
Yeah.
So what about Maul? This Maul right here that you see on the screen.
Man, I don't even want to mention Big Maul, man. Like I said, man, he's going through too much, and he hasn't fought in 2 years. So I don't even want to talk about Maul at this point, man.
Yeah, that's real spill, man. Now, last but not least, we got this situation. Danny, you might be able to convey what's been happening this past week as far as Teofimo Lopez or Devin Haney in general. So it's two. I'll say what it is. I know, and if you need to add in some more, Danny, please do so. So Teofimo Lopez, he's right now is not retired. He comes out of retirement, and what I remember, if I'm thinking correctly, I want to say it was the WBO. So what Devin Haney did was he activated his ability to be able to jump in and fight for the WBO belt. But also at the same time frame, you had him being in kind of quasi negotiations with Regis Program. So what the WBO did was they gave Tio 24 hours to declare whether or not he was going to retire, and then they also gave Devin Haney 24 hours to activate. Now, again, this is when Devin is also in negotiations with Regis. So what Devin did was he asked for an extension. The WBO didn't give him the extension. And so eventually what ended up happening is Tio decided that he wasn't retired anymore. He wasn't going to retire. Also this week, we'll get to the other part as far as what you mentioned, Danny, as far as Devin, his legal issues that he had this week. But starting off with that, did I miss anything, Danny?
You pretty much covered it for the most part. The other two kind of dominoes in this are Jose Ramirez and Barboza, because with them giving Haney and Lopez their options, and as of this recording, Haney still hasn't. I haven't seen it being reported that Haney is given the extension wasn't granted, but Haney's kind of everywhere right now. Between the legal issues, waiting to see if Tank gonna give him the shot. He would. There's light talks with him and Prograis. Apparently, an unofficial offer was sent to Shakur, where a 75-25 offer that Shakur was like, kind of be serious. And so Haney's in a position where he's trying to figure out the best option for himself, and WBO is saying basically put up or shut up, or we'll make the decision for you. And so as it stands right now, Lopez is keeping his belt. If Haney does not move up to 140, then he's gonna have to defend his WBO belt against someone at 135. Whether WBO decides to officially order the Shakur fight, that's up to them. But so if Haney doesn't fight at 140, it's going to be, I don't know off top who's the number one or the number two between Barboza and Jose Ramirez, but Tio, who I might be a free agent now, will need to fight one of those two. So that's what I know.
So you guys have any thoughts on any of that or what you heard?
That's a lot to digest, but I'll just go for what I know. So Teofimo Lopez, he says he's not retired, keeping his WBO title. I just want Teofimo Lopez to just thank last ones at the bar for giving him great advice on his career. We did state that's something that he should do. They should hold on to that title and not make any rash decisions. He did just that. And he's shooting for Devin Haney, which is a
No.
Good scout to have.
You going off the rails, but let me go ahead. Shout out to the bartender who made this right here. You know what I'm saying? You get the movement and groove when you have that right there. But anyway, this dude is not listening to no last ones at the bar. He should. The problem is he's ducking Devin Haney. That's what he's doing. This dude he's a bozo, man. I hate to say that about Teofimo Lopez. What he's waiting on is for Devin wants one of these guys. He wants Tio. He wants Tank. Not necessarily Shakur, because Shakur really isn't on his radar right now. Shakur doesn't have the cachet as those guys outside of the sport of boxing. So it's not really
that's simply because he can't beat Shakur. Because anybody else they thought he could beat, he'll take that scout easy.
Listen, man, it's like this. What has Shakur done at 135? What if he fights Shakur? How much potentially could he make in a Shakur fight? He's not.
He'll get that scout.
Yes. So why not wait to get the scout when the scout means more? That's a valuable scout to have. Why can't I have it when the scout is sellable to masses of people? It's not a good time right now. I know Tank has always been the guy at 135. Even though I have all of the belts, we know that Tank is still a guy. He's still the guy that's going to that's going to take you to that next stratosphere if you get that scout. Teofimo Lopez, those guys been on par with each other for a long time. We've been talking about the 135-pound kings. That's one of the guys that he wants. We never talked about Shakur Stevenson, in that kingdom.
None of them are kings. And matter of fact,
no,
Shakur is more of a king than Ryan Garcia.
You're missing my point, though, sir. What I'm saying is these guys have. It's like if, when you had Porter, you had Thurman, and you had Garcia. That's their class. So if somebody else comes up there, it's not like they're the same to them as the people that's in your class already. I'm trying to get at these dudes. I can get at you eventually, but I'm trying to get the dudes that's in my class that's gonna hold more weight. So
they might be, but let's take Garcia out. Take Ryan Garcia out.
No. So you said
put in
Shakur. Can I say something about Shakur? Because Shakur, he disappointed me. Shakur, he's sitting up here and I'm gonna say this, and I can say what the hell I want to on my birthday. He was cooning, man. The dude is talking all that stuff about sign the contract, this and that. Dude, take the 75-25. If you want the fight, that's the first thing. Second thing, how is it that you coming at Devin with all of this slick talk, but then you're gonna sit up there and talk about Lomachenko, Mr. Lomachenko? I think that we can fight with each other, and let's sign it. He's so dang on polite when he's talking to Vasil Lomachenko, and Vasil Lomachenko, he sent him to the curb. No, I still got unfinished business with Devin. He just man, your little tail, I ain't thinking about you. And he still never came at him raw like he's coming at these other dudes. Come on, man. Don't be doing that cooning type stuff, man. That frustrated me when I saw that. Dude, if you're going to have a smoke, if you're going to sit up here and be talking about Pitbull Cruz, you're going to be sitting up here talking about Devin, you're going to be sitting up here talking about all these other dudes, have that same energy for Vasil Lomachenko. Forget that dude. Nobody care. He's a fighter. Don't sit up here and be showing him all that type of stuff. Why are you showing him that type of respect? Out of all of the dudes that he's the same as all of them, he don't have a title or anything like that. Show him the same type of dang on disrespect that you've been showing them other dudes if you want to get them in the ring, if you want the smoke. So I'm be sitting up here with all that type of stuff. I think that Devin Haney, to me, is the only one legitimately who really wants to make these fights. I'm sure that he's going to either fight Regis, or if he can't get this clown in the ring either, because that's the only reason he retired, because he knows that Devin Haney, the WBO, you can activate your ability to be able to fight the champion if you have the belt in the lower weight class. That's the reason why he retired for a second, because he didn't want to have to face Devin Haney. You're not fooling me, man. I see through that type of stuff, man. When I came up, you can look somebody in the eyes. You can see some of the stuff, the tendencies that they have, and see what they own. And that's what he on. He on that fraudulent type of stuff, because then soon as Devin Haney gets into negotiations with somebody else, then he's going to take his butt out the hole. Oh, let's fight then, champ. Well, let's go ahead and get it on. Man, when Devin Haney wanted to fight that dude, at first, it was a couple years ago, his father was talking about $10 million that, yeah, we're going to fight for 10. Where you going to get $10 million from? Then recently, when he was about to fight Josh, They said that, what about the Devin fight? Yeah, we got $20 million. It's the same thing Leo Santa Cruz was doing when they was asking him about Rigo. He was talking about, yeah, I'll fight Rigo for $3 million. Dude, you ain't never even had $1 million at the time yet. You talking about $3 million for Rigo? Y'all keep saying he boring and all this type of stuff. Then where the hell the money coming from? See, man, that's that duck stuff, man. That's that duck sauce. That's that Terrence Crawford type stuff. And that's the reason why we're going to smoke him on the 29th. And then once Devin get him up in the ring, he going to get ready to smoke him too.
I can't wait till July 30th. I just say that.
Yeah, you don't see.
That morning, that late night, early morning. Yeah.
You want to smoke good about 4th round. He might be.
So it's the other thing about Haney, right? Other thing. So it's another incident where
we cooking him.
There was another incident where he got got arrested for having a handgun in the car in California, which is like way anti-fire. You should know better to be running around with a gun. First of all, and this is what I'm talking about with this. I'm a boxer, but I want to imitate rappers and ride around with my homeboys who's supposed to act as security versus real security who are licensed and understand how to legally carry around this stuff. You know what I'm saying? This dude got stopped. We know the guns belong to somebody in the car, right? It's not here. I can almost predict that. I can almost assume that. And normally when those things happen, like let's say when rappers or even boxers, when that stuff do happen, normally that person takes that fall. Like, hey, it's mine. You know what I'm saying? But they got his own homeboy threw him under the bus, allowed him to get arrested. So something wrong with that. You know, maybe he need to check the people that's around him. But hopefully he doesn't. I understand, you know what I'm saying, when you're a star like that, things can happen. So you need some type of security around you, but you want to be thorough in how you move. You don't want to be reckless in making these type of mistakes, knowing that people out to get you, you know. So
man, I'd rather get caught with it than without it, man. Let me go ahead and let these fellas cook in a second. But the only thing I'm gonna say, two things I'm gonna say, man. This right here got me feeling like I bug me feeling after the 4th round. You know what I'm saying? But secondly,
that's gonna be expensive when you get caught with that counter and you're like, oh, where'd that come from?
You got some fundamentals though, brother. You know what I'm saying? Derek James got him training in that 115 degree heat. You understand what I'm saying? So we built for it. You know, Texas tough. That's what they say. But anyway, and that's the reason why I got the D hat on, because I'm representing Dallas, Texas. And that's where it's going to go down. I'm going to go ahead. I might fly out there once I come back to go ahead and celebrate with the champ. Hopefully I see you at the 24-hour fitness off 360 again. I used to see you. You know, speaking of Erica Badu, I used to see DOC out there as well. I think I mentioned that before. But as far as Devin Haney, here's the thing about getting caught with a weapon. I think that, again, the blueprint is going to be Floyd. Like, you should have like some type of security that's licensed that you trust. Like, you got to have that once you start your star status start to come up. I mean, you're the undisputed champion. Seemed like you're making some pretty good money. Like, you was with Eddie Hearn for a second. You was making some pretty good purchase there. Top Rank seemed like that they were doing you know, pretty good as well as far as your finances. So, you know, you got to upgrade, you know, as you go. But here's the tricky thing about Cali is that it's hard to trust. See, they know that some of the guys that you hire, they may not be as trustworthy as you think. So they've been in Cali and they might end up like contacting somebody to go ahead and set you up and stuff like that. So they may not trust like the dudes that are available out there. So it's like, man, I want to make sure I got stuff on me just to protect myself, because I know how it is out here. And as soon as one person see me, they contact somebody, and then next thing you know, it's going to end up being a P&B situation. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. And it don't seem like Deontay Wilder was in a similar situation a couple months back, and it don't seem like it's affecting his life. You know what I'm saying? So again, it just seemed like in the situation in Cali, you better with it than without it. But at the same time, you got to have somebody that you trust that's registered to have that weapon, so you don't end up getting put in the bin.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel, can I cook before you?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, cause I want to call. Yeah, I gotta bounce now. So I just want to say, you know, T.O., I kind of knew that he was gonna, you know, ditch retirement. You know, he's He's a young guy. He's got a lot to offer to the sport. You know, he's just coming off, you know, impressive performance over, you know, Josh Taylor. You know, he's got a belt. So I just knew that he wasn't gonna, you know, really retire. You know, of course he speaks out, you know, about getting big paydays and stuff like that. But I can see, you know, Devin Haney, you know, going up to 140 and him into field, you know, having a fight, because, you know, Devin Haney is a big guy for, you know, 135 pounds. So I can see that happening. But far as you know, the incident, you know, with the firearm, I always mention, you know, when you're a champion, you got to conduct yourself like a champion. You know what I mean? I know mistakes happen and stuff like that, but of course, you know, Devin Haney, you know, he is getting big paydays. You know, he likes to show his change. He likes to show his bling. So I can understand that, you know, him having an entourage and somebody's, you know, has a firearm, you know, whatnot. But in that situation, nobody's, you know, said the gun was theirs. So in that sense, the vehicle was registered to him. He's the one that went down for it. But I think he does need to have some, you know, better people around him, you know, going forward. You know, hopefully, you know, he learns from this situation. You know, it doesn't really affect his career or anything like that. So, and that's my take on it.
Yes, sir. Ty, you gotta get up out of here.
Yeah, I gotta bounce, man. I gotta get on the road, man.
So, do your thing, man. I know you're on the road again. I need to get your Willie Nelson on. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I gotta get up out of here in a minute too. I'm gonna let these fellas, they over there long-winded, man. You know what I'm saying? You get on here, they're gonna be talking. So we're gonna let them cook a little bit.
Hey, Smith, get a word in.
Yeah, we're gonna let them cook a little bit, and then I gotta
we're gonna let Danny cook, man.
Yeah, I gotta go out here to the Watergate Hotel, man. I'm not a crook though. You know what I'm saying? I know that's their Richard Nixon. So I'm gonna go up there for that rooftop. But I'm supposed to be up there.
And you're not crook son, you just shook son, or what?
No, I ain't shook either. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no Teofimo Lopez. You know what I'm saying? But Ty, shout out to you, brother. Thank you so much for always supporting, and also we support you just as well. You understand me?
All right, appreciate it, man. You know, salute to y'all, man. You know, everybody, you know, have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, man. Turn up though. You understand what I'm saying? Well, that's what we doing.
All right.
Yeah. But not on the road though. All right. Because you might spill your drink. All right, so all right, brother.
All right.
Ty in the building. What's going on, Dano?
I should have had what you. I should have drank what you drinking. Will my yerba mate wearing off? Your stuff just making you more powerful.
Hey, I'm like Arrow. You know, Arrow. Like once you get to about third, fourth round, he just keep revving up. That's what this is right here. You understand what I'm saying? Like I'm old lemon soldier right now. You know what I mean?
But yeah, man, I don't have. There's nothing I would say on this that's different than what y'all would say. So I want to be respectful of our listeners' time too. So I'm cool here.
No, what do you think about Tio? Like, so what's your take? Because I know Vail, he thinking that Tio is like doing the right thing. He's great guy.
He don't fight.
Go ahead, buck.
I'm
like he's a dugout. He just waited for
no.
Fight. Now he want to tuck his the hole.
No, I never said he was a good guy and all this. This is what I said. He's nope. I said he's finally listening to. I didn't say he's all the way there, but he took some tidbits of what we said. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's gonna follow what he said, and then and he really wants Devin Haney, but he's keeping that WBO title, which is a smart move for his career. He's not retiring. He may retire again, but he still got that belt, which is still marketable for him. So he's doing some of the right thing. This is stepping it right through.
Great job, Tio. Great job there, buddy. All right. So what do you think though, Dan?
At a basic level, Tio did, if he decided that he's going to continue to box or he might continue to box, he did what he was supposed to do in terms of simply telling the WBO that, hey, I'm going to keep my belt. Now, who he fights is really up to what Haney does and who Haney is able to negotiate with, because he's trying to negotiate with like 3 different people and is waiting for the best offer. You know what I mean? And so Haney is kind of more so in the driver's seat than Tio right now, because Tio could very well end up fighting Barboza, who he turned down before, but now he's the champion and Barboza could be the mandatory. And so it's really up to Haney what happens from here.
You know who is really on? Tank. So Devin wants Tank. And so
right.
kind of like he'll stick around at 135 if he can get Tank. And then if Tank isn't willing to take that fight, then he wants one of those 140-pound guys. So that's where the whole dilemma is, and that's the reason why he was asking for an extension. But I think that if T.O. will accept the fight, then he'll be like, okay, well, should I give a Tank later? You know what I'm saying? Because that's another big opponent, you know what I'm saying, that he's always wanted. You know what I mean? So we'll see how things shake out. You know, T.O. quit ducking, you know what I mean? And let's go ahead and get it popping. Anything else you guys have in closing before we wrap this one up? I think that was the last one, because if it is, it better be, because I got to get up out of here.
Right. Last thing, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but I did want to do the boxing world due diligence about bringing up his name. But did anybody see the Andy Cruz fight last night, his pro debut?
No, talk to us. What you see?
Just, sort of the listeners know, Andy Cruz, he's the guy who beat Keyshawn twice in the amateurs, most recently for the gold medal. And so they bought him up. He defected from Cuba, so this was his pro debut. One of those Cuban fighters that has a storied amateur career, and they put him up against Juan Carlos Burgos, who Keyshawn beat back in, I believe it was April. It was before he beat Jiggett, I believe, and so he beat him by a sound unanimous decision. And there's not a lot of times that they bring up someone in their pro debut, they fight a 10-rounder. But he beat Burgos in a 10-rounder. And so I thought he looked good. He did all the right things. He worked out the basics well. He moved well. For an amateur fighter going from 3 rounds to 10, he showed a lot of stamina. Burgos just seemed like he was kind of, he's a tough guy. Nobody's ever stopped him, but he seemed like he was kind of there to survive. And so he kind of broke him down in that regard. But, all that to say, looking forward to seeing what they do with his career, because as much as we were talking about Keyshawn and Frank Martin, these guys might be on their own little collision course too. So we'll see.
Yeah, only thing I didn't get a chance to check him out, but I did see highlights of that one cat who was whooping that hell out of Victor Polestar. Like I don't know his name. I think his name was Rodriguez or something like that.
Yeah, Elvis Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was putting them paws on old Victor. I said, man, leave that old man alone. Like, give him a break. And then the referee finally called a halt to it. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to go ahead and looking at Bo Mac. You see what I'm saying? That's that mac and cheese that Bo Mac like to eat right there.
He gonna get fatter once that they feast on that shark. But I do want to give a shout out to Devin Alexander. I saw him on social media, right? And he seemed to be doing well for himself. If anyone knew, his career took a stall somewhere in there after some of his losses. And I know he had some. We were talking about some addictions to some, I guess, some pain pills or something like that.
Right.
But he's seen it. But now he's reinvented himself as a trainer. Has a great outlook on his life. He's happy, smiling. Working with kids. So shout out to him. It's a feel good story to see somebody really, turn around and reinvent themselves. Like,
no, that's always a good thing, man. Thanks for sharing that with us. I always respected Devin Alexander. It's just the only thing, just nitpicking as far as what I saw with him, and that's like some people consider like Kevin Cunningham like a upper echelon trainer. I don't know. I just always saw with Devin Alexander, I never saw him like actually telling him stuff that was like details in order to make adjustments if what he was doing wasn't working. It was always, come on, man, like fight harder, or you gotta do more. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. It was more motivating type things. But some people say that he's one of the. I just never saw it with Kevin Kelly, but that was his prize pupil though. Was Devin Alexander. Shout out to both of them. Yeah, man. Today is the birthday, brothers. You understand what I'm saying? So again, make sure you go ahead living it up, because this my day right here. You know what I'm saying? So just like my cousin used to tell me, he said, don't turn down anything but your collar, except a broke female if she don't have $1. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the only. But you guys,
so Danny, take a screenshot this time, man. I know you're gonna remember it for a long time.
Nah, I need to be on what Will on so I can forget it.
Yeah, no doubt. Anything else you guys have in closing? And shout out to my little guy, Nakai. He did another background for me with the gloves and the different colors and stuff like that. He said he got one more for me before summer school ends. But anything else you guys have?
No, man, I just want to shout you out again, man. I would do a birthday shot with you on here, but I know you got to get up out of here. But I'm glad you have enjoyed so far. I hope you continue to enjoy the day, bro.
No, man, I told you I'm not turning down anything but my college. So once this thing goes off, we're gonna go ahead and have us a little shot. You understand what I'm saying? I just don't want to do it on camera because I don't want you to get caught up. What about you, Phil? Anything else?
No, I'm good, man.
Hey, man, y'all have a go ahead and have a good week. Next week, we're going to go ahead and make the predictions on the fight card. Errol Spence, I'm already letting you know he's smoking that dude. He's going to put him in the dirt.
What round? You got your round yet?
It's going to be early and often because Bud ain't never seen nothing like what Earl's coming with. So it's going to be early. Once Earl ends up like catching his rhythm because he's been off a little bit, but he's always been cooking in that gym. So Bud ain't saying nothing like that because I seen Bud get hit by Brooke. You understand what I'm saying? But he turned up. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Bud turns up. But see, when somebody turn up, you got to know how to turn them down. You understand what I'm saying? I know that Earl knows how to do that. Shout out to, Dallas. Shout out to South Dallas with, what's my man name? Big Tuck. But also Oak Cliff. That's where Errol Spence, his crew resides. Him, DOC, those people. But it's like outside a little bit of there, it's going to be DeSoto. And so that's where it goes down. So, next week, you're going to get the predictions. The following week, you're going to see Bud, hopefully. I pray for you. You've been up in that hospital. You understand what I'm saying? You'll be okay. You understand? I know you don't want the rematch because really what's going to happen is they're going to try to sweeten the pot and give you
We'll talk about it next week.
They're gonna try to give Bud a good purse in a rematch, right? But they're gonna dang, that's my hospital bill. You understand? So it's not gonna. But anyway, man, y'all enjoy yourself, man, and it was a pleasure. On that note, we out. Peace.
Peace.